When did you find out that they were stolen?
When they knocked on my door.
What, were you kind of just like, what?
Well, when the police first knocked on my door, and again, this is 10, 11 days after my ex-wife, had me kicked out of the house, stole all my money and all this. So, I'm just trying to put my life back together. Cop shows up at my new house, and he's just like, we need to talk about your collection. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, some of it might be stolen. And normally, I would advise anyone, do not talk to the police without an attorney. But at that moment, I was just like, well, I know it's not stolen. So I was like, come in, sit down, let's talk about it. And he starts telling me, do you know Candace Scott? And I'm like, well, yeah. I was fully open with everything. I was like, yeah, I know her. Yeah, this is a business we've done. And I know the laws, so I was just like, nothing about this is illegal. He's like, well, if it's stolen, it is. I was like, I have no knowledge of it being stolen, and frankly, you can't prove I knew it was stolen. And they never did. They never provided any evidence that I knew anything was stolen. So it's like, that's how it just landed in my lap all of a sudden. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And from there, that spiraled into, my ex-wife actually gave a bunch of names of people I had worked with and everything to the FBI. And out of all the people she mentioned, apparently 2 of them had purchased it. It just blew up that these 2 people had bought things from a Harvard morgue manager at some point. I never bought from Harvard. I never was at Harvard. I never knew Cedric Lodge. I never met him. I didn't know he existed. So anything with Harvard, I was a third-party buyer. Mm-hmm. And somehow I just became the face of Harvard. Everything about me and Harvard got linked, and it didn't even make sense.
And so by third-party buyer, you mean it was sold to somebody and then that somebody sold it to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was no direct link with me and Harvard at all. I've always been on the up and up. I've been doing this so long that if I was crooked, I would have got caught a long time ago. You know what I mean? It was an unfortunate circumstance. I'm glad it happened, because if what happened to me opened up the eyes to the world of that there are people out there doing this.
Yeah.
Better to get that handled, and if that means more regulations, if that means more, even within the institutions themselves, better security, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It sucks for me, but, at the end of the day, if that not only benefits this community, but also the community at large, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Do your own research. Don't have a knee-jerk reaction. You know what I mean? Not everything is for everybody. Just because something makes you uncomfortable doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe you like to collect baseball cards and I hate baseball. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, people that are like, human remains, they should be put to rest, this, that, and the third, that's your belief. That's your opinion. You know what I mean? And you're entitled to that opinion and that belief system. But if you go somewhere like Papua New Guinea, their belief was that I have to sleep on the skull of my ancestors so I don't have bad luck. You know what I mean? So it's very subjective, and people just react to their feelings and usually their religious upbringing. Mm-hmm. Burying bodies isn't the only way people grieve or handle human remains. Yeah. And then, it gets very interesting because those same people are like, well, if the skeleton's being used to teach, that's okay. All right, well, he was used to teach hundreds of people, and now he sits here with me. Why can I not enjoy him and have this piece of history with me that I obviously respect, just because he's not teaching a doctor anymore. But he does teach people that walk through that door every day. All the human remains in my possession have always been treated well. We both do restoration work, not just on wet specimens, but repairing skeletons. Like she said, she'll rewire, a skeleton or repaint the medical labeling, And to me, that's respect. That's taking care of them. Preservation of the historical side of it is also important. This shrunken head here, the dark history surrounding shrunken heads is unfathomable. But I can't go back and change what happened to that woman, but I can revere her and appreciate her till the end of my days, and whether that dark history makes someone uncomfortable, that is history. And if you just bury her and throw her away, you're just trying to erase something that's never going to go away. I've said this many times about him since I've been asked about him. Either he's mentally ill or he has the biggest balls I've ever seen, because to do what he was doing at the volume he was doing it, I can't fathom, what would possess someone to do that. And obviously he was selling the stuff, I don't know why he was collecting stuff in such volume. It's really weird to me because I know he had posted about forming an LLC on forensic analysis and things like that. So maybe the best case scenario, in my opinion, is in some warped way. Maybe that's what he was trying to do, was to like build some kind of database to learn. But that's giving him a lot of credit. I definitely think greed was a huge factor here. Why did I plead guilty? I pled guilty because I wanted it to be over. When this case popped off, what the public didn't know was that Sarah had stripped me of my life already. She had wiped out my bank accounts. I had $1,300 to my name in a car. After supporting her, paying all the bills, paying for her boob job, paying for her lip injections, paying for everything. I was stripped down of that and had to rebuild life with that. And in the midst of that, this case happened. So by the time I got to the point when I pled guilty, I was exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm financially strained. I just, I wanted it to be over. And I also didn't believe at that point, if I went to trial, I didn't think I'd get a fair shake.
Why is that?
Because my face was blasted from here to Australia. Everybody knew what. And a lot of people ask, well, why would you open a shop in the middle of this? It's like, well, what else am I supposed to do? There was no end in sight. I didn't know when I was getting sentenced, any of that. How long was I supposed to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs before I tried to build a life again?
And you asked the DA if it was okay.
And yeah, the funny thing was, I asked the DA through my lawyer if I was allowed to sell human remains because they're legal. I was told yes, as long as they're not stolen. And then when I opened the shop, they used that heavily in their memorandum to say that I was not showing remorse because I was continuing this behavior. Even though they've never been in the shop, they've never come and arrested me, they've never violated my pretrial release, they never violated my probation, because what I'm doing isn't illegal. Facts about the case have been both distorted and sensationalized like crazy. No journalist did any real research on me. I own a nonprofit educational museum. I've done preservation work for years. There was such a different avenue of my work that was just ignored because it didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was just like, it was headlines, sicko body snatcher. Like the media was presenting things in a way that simply weren't true. I never went to a morgue. I never went into a facility. I never urged anybody to steal anything for me. And all this was agreed at my sentencing. The judge struck down most of their argument.
Yeah.
Because there was no evidence of that. But the way the media presented everything, the general public definitely got their own idea of how this went down. Mm-hmm. And again, I couldn't say anything. I couldn't go out there and defend myself. I couldn't do an interview to combat that narrative. The majority of people that collect this stuff, whether it's customers who walk into the shop or even personal friends I've had for years in this community, the majority are the most normal looking people you'll ever meet. They're your bank teller, they're your Cub Scout leader, they're your kid's teacher. It's definitely not the subculture that it appears to be. Yeah. I think people definitely tend to gravitate to the guy with tattoos who has human skulls because it's the whole package going on. But honestly, the majority they look like you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's really honestly the truth. Knowledge is power. You know what I mean? If we all fear what we don't understand, so if you try to understand it, even if it's still not for you, I think you'll walk away with a better respect of it,